invest, right? You have to decide what future you want for your kid. And if you want them to get out the mud like we had to, buy them the toys. It's not going to be here after, a couple of days, right? Or you could put that money away, make that small sacrifice to make sure they are at a point where they have, I call it putting hammocks in your family tree, where you don't have to worry about that as much, right? And you can also do it for yourself, right? The kids are important. It's great to set them up, but hell, if you're not investing for yourself when it comes to retirement, you need to be doing it as well.
Start today. You have a thriving online community. Shout out to you. They seem like wonderful people. You have events and all that good stuff. How does one build an online community? Mm-hmm. And do you reoccurring payments, one-time payments? What's your preferred?
Yeah. So I learned early on in my career when I was working at Vanguard from the late Jack Bogle. Shout out to the late Jack Bogle. He mentioned, and I should give context, Vanguard brings in millions and billions of dollars a day. Ask me how many times in my 5 years that I was there that we talked about how much money was coming in. Zero, right? He would always say money is a byproduct of doing the right thing. If you're doing the right thing, you treat people well, you give people the chance at success as it relates to investing, you don't have to worry about the money coming in. It's going to happen, right? The same way if you're teaching people how to, make money online, in person, whatever it is, you don't have to worry about ever working again, like for someone else, because you're helping people make money. So people are going to pay you in order to make that happen, right? So when it comes to BetterWallet, anyone who has ever interacted with the brand, they understand that even if they pay, they're going to get 15 times more than what they paid for.
Wow.
Right? Like the value that comes along with any of my programs, it's way farther than what other people might be doing out there. And it's not because I'm trying to be more competitive. It's just who I am as a natural person. I want to help. And, great. Like you pay me money for it, but like that's not the end game. Sure, it's something that's like a litmus test on like if I'm going in the right direction, but that is what's most important to me. So if you do that often enough, even without marketing, word of mouth spreads. Again, another example, Vanguard is being the company that didn't even market for decades, and they were able to accumulate $4 trillion. They now market on TV.
They
did not do that for the longest time. Fidelity, all their competitors, BlackRock, they would put millions and billions of dollars into marketing, but then they will look back and say, okay, well, we're still trying to compete with Vanguard, who does no marketing, right? So for me, word of mouth is the best marketer. If you do the right thing by people, they're going to tell their friends, their cousins, their aunties, right? That is the end goal. So in terms of how I go about getting compensated, there's a couple of different ways, right? You have the digital products, which is, my way of helping people directly. So if people are like, hey, I see all the things you're putting online, you post every single day, multiple times a day, but I need some hand holding.
Okay.
There's, obviously a fee that comes along with that where I can help you from A to Z, budgeting, investing, taxes. How can I help you achieve your financial goals, whatever that looks like for you? And then there are some reoccurring subscriptions that you can sign up for. Like I have coaching that comes along with the actual program where I can help you directly. That all comes along with the flat fee. But then if you want continuing coaching every single month forever, you can sign up for the subscription for that. And that's a low price as well. And then the other way of going about doing is brand deals, right? Bringing money in the door. So brand deals have been great for me. Luckily, I've been working with like some of the best brands out there, like Ally Bank and Chase and Verizon, which has been great. They pay really well. They ask for a lot. And the cool thing about it is like I only truly partner with companies that I have used before. I know them and I trust them.
Dope.
That's very, very important to me. Over the crypto phase or the crypto era, like a 2020, 2021, I looked at the numbers. I declined close to $100,000 in just brand deals because I didn't believe in what they offered. It wasn't more of like me saying, hey, like I didn't believe in crypto. I didn't believe in the platform. And the one, I'm not going to name any companies, but the companies you're seeing now that are going under, I can literally go back to my inbox and say, hey, like they offer me an X amount of money, but I didn't believe in what they offered because I was asking questions and they couldn't respond to that, right? So that's incredibly important to me because my, $100,000 means nothing if people don't trust my platform because I partner with X company that, screwed over their investors.
Good for you.
So
Let me
that's
ask you
really
this
important.
one. You can give rough numbers. What do you have in your accounts?
In my accounts, the dollar
IRAs.
amount. Oh man, we're here now. We're talking about that.
Stocks. You can give over 6 figures, over $1 million.
Yeah, let's say I'm in a good spot, right? Okay. So I'm pretty transparent on my Instagram page and saying that like I really didn't.
That's the reason why I actually class.
So I didn't really truly start to invest until after I became debt free in 2020.
Okay, that's Dave Ramsey. Okay.
Yeah, so like. It was more because the debt was such a burden for me that I didn't want to worry about investing. I knew I could catch up.
Yeah.
Right. It was the mental. It was like, yeah, sure. Like I can hold on to this debt forever. A lot of it was low interest, but I said, you know what? I'm going to just pay it off and then start investing. But at that point, I already had like a 6-figure portfolio.
Nice.
Within my retirement, because that was my one rule, was that I'm not going to put money into a brokerage. I'm going to make sure I have money in my retirement.
Smart.
Because that match, I can't go back and say, hey, Vanguard, I didn't put money in. Let me get that 5% that you used to give.
Take it now or leave it.
Exactly. So, and they're not going to email you about that and tell you, hey, you should get it, right? So if you kind of take that, the amount of money I've been investing over the last 4 years, right? So I would say we're north of 500,000.
Nice. Good
and
for you.
we're getting very, very, very close to $1 million.
I respect it, man.
And if this year goes the way that it should,
okay,
$1 million will be the least.
Whew.
And that's just my portfolio. My kids have their own portfolio. The kids that don't
even have yet are lit.
They have their own portfolio. I'll allow them to talk about their portfolio when they're here.
Okay. Someone's 40, they have no assets, no retirement. What are their next 3 to 5 steps?
Yeah, so no assets, no retirement. Retirement is number one, right? So you can't take a loan out for retirement. You can take a loan out for everything else, right? Everything you could think of, you could take a loan out for, but you can't take a loan out for retirement. So what do? You have to focus on where you can get your free money, right? Free money being the money that we're just talking about, like a retirement money. If you work for an employer and you get a match, make sure you're putting enough in the 401k, 403b, 457 to make sure you're getting that match. Okay. If you don't get a match with your employer, quit. That's my philosophy.
Whoa, I didn't expect you to say that.
And here's the reason why. You're losing out on thousands of dollars over the long term. Make sure you get, put in 2-week notice, make sure you have another job lined up, all the things.
Yeah,
but I hear
you.
all the time where people say, I have great benefits. Cool. You have flexibility. That's great. I'm happy you can be there for your kids. But do you have a match? No, you don't have great benefits.
Damn.
You do not. Because you really have to think about it. If I put in $300 per month into my 401k and I get a match, they're going to be putting in that $300.
Yeah.
Right? That $300 that they're putting in is going to grow, compound every single month for the rest of my life.
Damn.
Right? But if you don't get that, you're only putting in 300 times 12, right? That's what you're putting in, but you're not getting that additional match. The company is literally giving you money. And if you abide by what they call the vesting schedule, where they'll say, okay, well, you need to be here for 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, you get to keep all of that.
Yeah.
And that was a big, big decision for me when I was leaving Vanguard, because I wanted to make sure that I met that vesting schedule to make sure that I had all that money by the time I left. And remember, I just told you, I left when I had $100,000 already in the portfolio, and a lot of that came from the match, right?
Shout out to you.
People sleep on that, but that is like the easiest way. There's people out there who are like, yo, I'm a hustler. I'm like, do you get a match? If you don't get a match, you're hustling backwards, in my opinion.
I dig it.
I think you should consider other jobs if you don't get that match. So I think that's number one.
Last question. What is the S&P 500?
Yeah, so if you think about all the companies, large companies that we know and love, NVIDIA, Amazon, just think about the brands we have on now. I have Alo, Movado, Nike, right? They're all in the S&P 500, right?
Okay.
A lot of these companies here that we're seeing here in the podcast room are probably, is that Canon? Canon's the S&P 500, right?
Okay.
Imagine if you can buy 500 of those same companies that we use every single day. Some companies that we know, some companies we don't, right? You buy all 500. It's basically a basket. And you say, you know what? I'm going to invest in the capitalism in the United States that we all know and sometimes love.
Yeah.
Right? The capitalism in the United States isn't going anywhere. Nowhere, right? So why not invest in it? So that's basically what it is. It's one fund. You have companies like Vanguard, you have Fidelity, right? And they go and they create these funds that mirror the stock performance of those 500 companies, a little bit more than that, but 500 to kind of make it easy. So you put the money in, and it's a pretty simple process. They make it really easy. You go to Vanguard, you type in one of the tickers, VOO, which is the Vanguard SP 500 index fund. You put the money in, you can start with $1, $10, $20, whatever you have, right? You put that money in, and then you are basically investing into the capitalism of the United States. So as that money grows, or these companies grow, you're going to be growing with them. Now, the